Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Aitai, and we're excited to be here today, Friday, the 19th of February, 2021. And we are going to be talking about something great today, and I'm excited to bring you a show that you've never experienced before. This is the Good Morning Education Show. We are streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa, to Africa, to the entire world. If you're just joining us, please do let us know where you're joining from, where you're connected from. Please share your name, share your location. And of course, as we have conversation on the show, please do not hesitate to share your thoughts on the conversation of the day and ask questions if you must. We will accept your questions and we'll treat the questions as they come in. Thank you, Gideon Essien, all the way from Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining. Good morning, you say this morning, and I'm saying good morning right back at you. And for your consistency, for your support over the months, I would like to ring the bell of blessing to Gideon this morning. And today, I will not just be having the show alone, but we will be having the show with some other special individuals joining us. And one of the people that I would like to share the show with today is someone all the way from the city and the state of Kaduna. And she's no other person. She's going to introduce herself shortly. But before we talk about that, I would like to just do a brief intro of what to expect. So yesterday we spoke about how to spot a leader, and boy, that show was amazing. If you've not seen it, please head over to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, sorry, and share the videos. But go over yesterday's session, and you will see so many things that you can glean from, you can get to learn from, right? And today we're going to be dealing with a subject matter that really affects the young and the old, affects the new, affects the old in the system, affects the least, affects the greatest, as the case may be. We're going to have a great time today. But before then, oh, good morning, this slightly chilly morning. Finyi, Follow, you're expected to be on the show this morning as well. But you know what? Um, I know it's cold. Actually, we've been complaining in Lagos that the Amatan is not like it is in other parts of the country. And guess what? It's as if our prayers got answered. But let me just introduce you to my special friend, and she's in the show today. Grace, good morning. Grace Amoka, how are you today? Are you there?
Good morning. Yes, I am. Good morning, Mr. Rotimi. I'm doing very well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on the show. I don't think we
Fantastic.
people in Lagos should complain about the Hamatan, no, because this is where Hamatan is. My camera is not on because I'm freezing in bed.
No. I need to see your face, Grace. You know, when I see your face, there's some energy that radiates just from your smile. You know, wake up in the morning, no more sleeping in bed. Come on, wake up. And this is, you see, correct. So you see, you don't even look like you're cold. You don't look like you're cold. You look like it's just,
The cold is
you
intense.
just dusting it off, just dusting it off your shoulder. Fantastic. Good morning to you today.
Good
And on the
morning.
show, we normally treat issues around the world of education within the world of education. So that's why it's the Good Morning Education Show. It's the best show ever in the world that deals with education matters, especially with concerns in Africa and pretty much in Nigeria. So today, I'm going to give you the liberty to say some things. Tell us about yourself, and we go straight to the topic of the day. If there are news that you want us to share, probably maybe you start to introduce yourself to the audience, and then from there we'll take it up if you don't mind. So tell the world, who is this pretty chick that is smiling to them all the way? You see, we have people all over the world. We have people from UAE, so Barbados, South Africa, wherever you say. So over to you.
Thank you very much. And once again, thank you so much, Mr. Rotimi, for having me here. My name is Grace Amoka, and I usually like to start with, a short story about myself, especially as it has to do with education. So I remember that when I was 8 years old, my younger sister and I, we used to have these imaginary stages and imaginary classrooms. And for us, all we knew teachers for was that they used to flog us in school. So our idea of teaching was to shall be flogging our imaginary students. We even had names for these students. So we had Abachi, Ikemo, and Basange. Don't even ask me how we got the names. And years down the line, you go to primary school and it's expected that you go to secondary school and university. So after secondary school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I remember my dad and I going through the JAM brochure, and I was in the sciences. And then there was medicine, there was engineering. I knew I didn't want to do medicine. So the next option, felt like engineering. And I went through the list of engineering courses. There was chemical. I'm like, no, 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 no. This sounds too chemistry for me. And chemistry wasn't one of my strong points. Mechanical sounded too hard guy, hard guy. So I just went through that entire list, and then I stumbled on computer engineering, and it just sounded like something that, oh, it wasn't too hard and wasn't too soft at the same time. So I went through computer engineering for 5 years, as in, and I will come back home sometimes on holidays, and my mom's friends will be like, "Oh, I have a computer system that is bad." I'm like, "If you bring your computer near me, it's going to be destroyed," But then going in for my National Youth Service Corps, which, if you're in Nigeria, you know what that is. But for those not in Nigeria, it's a compulsory 1 year service that graduates have to go through. And that the year that I did my NYSC, we were all expected to teach. And while every other person was lamenting about it, I had this joy in my heart about it, but I couldn't talk, share my joy with people, because you don't want to be the only one happy and everybody's wondering what's wrong with you. And that 1 year for me was a defining moment in my life, I would say in my career. I served in a school in Lagos, Green Springs School. And for me, it felt like those dreams I had as a child just came alive again. It felt, when you're fitting a puzzle together, and that final piece finally aligns. It felt like I had that alignment, taking me back to when I was a child and all those dreams that I had. But I wasn't confident enough to voice out those dreams, because you know how teachers are. Teachers are poorly remunerated. They're not well respected. All those ills that plague us as teachers. But there, I was able to, bring that dream back to life, and I met people that were passionate about what they were doing. So it made me start to think of other ways that I could, support myself and just have a sustainable, desirable life. So I tell people all the time that I feel like my vision in life is to be that face of education that makes it desirable. So a child sees someone like me and says, I want to go into teaching, and you're not feeling bad for the child and be like, oh, poor you're going to be poor and haggard for the rest of your life, your reward is in heaven, and all those things they say to teachers. Like, I want it to become that desirable profession that people are like, how people are hustling for medicine and all those Nigerian, if you're not a medical doctor, you're a lawyer, at least before the advent of the generation that has come to shake things up a bit. Because I believe it so much in this generation of people, where you have people really going out for what they want to do. So you have the world of photography that is just blossoming. There is public speaking. There is the makeup industry, and young people are just stepping out and saying that I have a dream, I have a desire to use my skills, my talent, and everything God has put inside of me to be a blessing to humanity. I know it's actually introduce myself, but I've started to talk a lot. As teachers, we talk plenty. So basically, that's how I found myself here. So this is me trying to navigate this season of my life and understand how best to help other people that are going through that phase where they are not very sure what they want to do, or they just don't have the courage. They know what they want to do, but they don't have the courage to just step out and say, I'm not going to follow status quo, because status quo never made any significant difference. I want to be different, and I want to follow my dreams, basically. So yeah, that's Grace Amoka. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow, wow. In fact, you know what we do when you come on the show for the first time, or better still, when we get people making comments for the first time, we have what we call the bell of blessing. And so officially, Grace Amoka, I am going to use the powers vested in me as the co-host of this program to ring the bell of blessing for you
Woo!
today. Yes. So
Thank
yes,
you.
and our topic today really, if anyone is joining us, this is the Good Money Education Show. You're not missing, you didn't stumble on us by accident. This is the place you're meant to be, right? Grace, our topic today really resonates with your introduction, which is simply where are you now? And it's just taking number one, assessment, number two, acceptance, to who you are, what you are, or what you feel you're called to do. And I love the way you said that, getting into NYC, you've got to experience what you call a defining moment. And there are many times people miss out on defining moments. Sometimes people discover the defining moment, and a lot of people don't know what to do with it. Now, there are
Mm.
teachers out there, there are educators out there who are even not conscious of where they are now. What would you have to say to such situation or such people in such situation?
Okay, thank you very much. From personal experience, I would say that there are three stages of this whole thing, and throughout our life cycle, we get to experience these three stages. So there's the discovery phase, there's the development phase, and the deployment phase. And I feel that um, we need to understand where we got stuck. So are you stuck at the discovery phase? I would say get help. We come into life and somehow we feel like it's something we can just figure out and navigate by ourselves. But a lot of times we need people that can help us, unbundle that process of discovery. We need people to ask us the right questions and point us in the right directions. That's why I'm excited when I see coaches and real mentors, because these days people throw the words around loosely. But if you have a real, like a great coach that can point you in the right directions, ask you the right questions to discover those latent capabilities in yourself, those talents and skills that you have that already are deposited in you, you'll be able to go through that discovery phase. Then there's now the development phase. So now that I have discovered certain things about myself, what how can I go about it? One of my other coaches usually talks about the principles of success or failure. So there's the belief, there's the awareness, there's the belief, and then there's the principles governing the model of what you want to be, do, and have. So under the principles, that's where the development phase is. What are the things that I need to know concerning these giftings that I have? What are the things that I need to what are the skills I need to sharpen? What are my strengths, my weaknesses? What are the opportunities and threats that exist within this, gifting that I have found? And then finally, the deployment phase. The thing about it is, through the journey of our lives, we're always at one of these stages, and we keep going through these stages. Sometimes there's the fear of, oh, I have so many things that I want to do. I have so many things that I'm skilled for. How do I go about it? And I say it all the time to people, don't get stuck trying to figure things out. Clarity comes while you're moving. It's when a car is in motion that it can now gain momentum and just start to, like move by itself. So you need to take a step. So if I'm leaving you anybody with anything today, it will be take that first step. At whatever stage you are, take that first step. That first step could be as little as getting up from your bed this morning, as cold as it is. It could be finding a coach or a mentor. Like, be intentional about the kinds of people that you follow, the people that you listen to that speak into your life. So I would say take that first step, whether you're in the discovery stage, the development phase, or the deployment phase. Thank you.
That's powerful. Just the natural way of you dishing it out. I feel like you're a female version of me. You say there's a discovery phase, there's a development phase, there's a deployment phase. Guess what? She just gave us a D, 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 D cube. No, 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 no. I'm going to do my own back on this show. For where you come to my show and you're telling me all those DDD, I'm going to give you SSS. Okay, should
Oh
we try
my
that? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pick alphabet and then we'll say, you know what, answer the questions using the alphabet. You don't go outside
God.
the alphabet. We try it.
Okay.
Bring it on. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you know what you said is quite important. That these three stages, we must ensure that we continue to take steps, because when you take one step, it leads to another. You see, a lot of time people don't understand what I normally call it the power of the tipping point. You see,
Mm,
when you look at an avalanche, right?
mm,
It takes a flake of snow, not a mass, a
mm,
flake, very
mm,
crystal flake of snow to cause an avalanche, right? So what happens is at the moment the last flake of snow touches or moves or gets stirred, you get to find a big time avalanche. It's the same thing. That flake of snow becomes the tipping point. It's
mm,
like you find
mm.
something on the edge, right? You find a ball on the edge, you find a cup or a plate on the edge of the table, you find someone standing at the cliff, at the edge of the cliff. It only needs a tipping point. And most of the time, the tipping point to getting into the wealth, to getting into the abundance, to getting into the realm of the world of what you want to do is that step. A lot of
Mm.
times it's not the knowledge, a lot of times it's not the research, a lot of times it's not even the resources you are able to garner, but it is that tipping point that just brings you to that point of, you know what, I'm taking that plunge, you know. I don't know, Grace, do you know how to swim?
No, I don't. I'm not a water person. I take my bath because it's very important to do so. We want to save
You
the
are
world, but
you are
I don't
missing
swim.
you are missing, girl, you're missing. So I think that that should be on your wish list. You should try as much as possible to become the swimming Grace, not just the speaking Grace. Is that clear? Um,
Okay,
so
swimming,
yeah,
speaking.
you understand. So we're dealing with the scenarios of the SSDD. Maybe another word would be TT. Do you understand? So I think that that's very important. People need to see that there's a tipping point, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to us now, or those who watch the replay much later, they're going to be wondering, okay, so where am I now? What is it really saying? Because it's possible for people to look at where they are in terms of geographical location, or sometimes people look at themselves in terms of wealth and the result of how much financial capacity that they might have, right? Are there other dimensions in assessing yourself when you say, where are you now? Right? Because if you're not careful, that question is a question that gets people to not like themselves or gets people to get into a mood. You know, could you share with us? Are there dimensions to that beyond physical location and beyond financial capacity? Where are you now? When we hear that, what should come to our mind? What should we pay attention to?
Okay. So I really love that question because it speaks to an identity issue. So beyond your, the things you mentioned, beyond your career, beyond who people think you are, beyond what they see you are as, at your workplace, beyond your geographical location, who is the person, Grace? Who are you? So when you're stripped of all the titles, all the accolades, all your Instagram likes and Facebook friends that are not really friends, who are you? Like at the core of your being, who are you? There's this video about a professor that was trying to pass on a powerful message to his class, and he picked up a dollar bill, and he said, I think it was $100 or so. Who wants this? And of course, the entire class put up their hands. And then he squeezed it and squeezed it. And he asked, who wants it? Everybody still put up their hands. He threw it on the floor and squashed it and, just stepped on it. And he's like, who still wants this? And everybody still put up their hands. And he asked a question, which I'm going to ask you. Why did people still want it, despite the fact that it had been trodden on the floor, it had been squeezed and all of that. And the answer to that was because it still remains $100 bill. So you've been crushed, you've been battered, life has done you basketballs. Who is at the core of all of that? And you need to understand that core and solidify that core such that when life throws you lemons, like Mr. Rotimi will say, you don't have to accept those lemons. You throw it back at life, you know. So the question is, your beyond all of these things, what is your identity? And like I said, at every point in your life, you need to go through that discovery process. You can read books, you can get coaches, you can listen to people that speak to your core, people that make the baby in you leap. They will help you and just guide you as to understanding where you are, not in terms of you know physical location or your job or anything. Who are you really? Like, what's that identity? And that's something you cannot afford to lose, because there's another saying that a lizard in Nigeria is a lizard in America. It doesn't change his shape or form. So that's what I have to say about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you're feeling the heat. If you're feeling cold, it's because you've not turned on the radio, you've not turned on your TV to see us on the Good Morning Education Show. Why? Grace is spitting fire all the way from Kaduna. And then she's giving that smile like it's just chicken change. A lizard in Nigeria is still a reptile in Europe, it's still a reptile in America. Well, that lizard might not survive. Trust it just packed lizard. All right, so let's take this a step further. I would say that another thing that we need to know is that when you hear the word, where are you now? It's not really a question for you to answer, right? A lot of times, we're not necessarily looking for the answer in terms of when we say, where are you? But it's a retrospect for everyone. It's a call to retrospect where you are able to say, where are you now is actually pointing you. It's a pointer, not necessarily asking you to answer, because at that point is the pointer that triggers the revelation you have. So when you say, where are you now? You're talking about the era. One of the things that we must recognize is when we say, where are you now? Is this call to consciousness to say that you are in an era, and you're able to answer what kind of era. You're in an era of transition. You're in an era of transformation. You're in an era of consolidation. You're in an era of initiating things. When you understand that era, then it causes you to dream, causes you to plan, causes you to move, or causes you to act. So when you look at it in your sector, in your industry, when you look at it on your pursuit, in your projects, when you look at it in your life and relationship, in your career and profession, where are you now? It's just for you to look at yourself and say, what is the era my profession is in? What is the era my sector is in? What is the era my job is in? What is the era for my talent? What is the era for everything I do? Because the era tells you the next thing I'm about to share, which is the opportunity. Right? So when you say, where are you now? It's almost like saying, Grace, where are you? And then you just think about it. It's true. Hey, oh my goodness. Where am I? This is really talking about, where are you? I'm in the gravity, center of gravity of opportunity. I'm in the center of greatness. I'm the center of, and most times is at the point where everything looks bleak and everything looks dark, everything looks hopeless. Let me tell you, that is really the time the power of contrast begins to shape narratives. Most times you don't see well in the light, in terms of figuratively. You don't see well in the light. But if you really want to search out the capacity of the eyes, it is most times in the dark, because the eye now begins to use, right, its capacity to the extreme. My friend will say satisfaction is a symptom of death. A lot of times when we look at the question, where are you now? Or we look at the question of where I am now, or where am I now? I begin to move away, not just from the era, but also to move into the opportunity, which sometimes the era brings. And we tell people this, and I know that I'm sure you agree with me, that opportunity has a shelf life, it has a lifespan, it has an expiry date, right? The opportunity of a lifetime is considered to exist within the lifetime of that opportunity, right? So, what it simply means is this: we must understand that every time you look at the era and you take a step to look at the opportunity, you now begin to know how much time you have to do the things that you have to do. So it's almost like self regulating yourself to always ask, where are you now? It's an assessment question, it's a reflective question, but then also is, of course, your reality question, which is more or less, where are you? I'm in Kaduna. Where are you? I'm in Lagos. But where are you is in the era, right? And which I want us to ask now that when we know that, um, how do we get to be very sincere with ourselves? Let me explain what I mean. You see, there's a tendency that people do not like to tell themselves the truth, or when people look for people to give them feedback, feedback tends to be a bit painful at times. So we don't gravitate to where the feedback will really come as honest and as clean and as pure as expected. Because imagine if you say, "Oh, how did I do? Tell me, I'll be honest. How did it go?" You know, most people ask that question without the intention to find out how really how really did it go. Because if they hear, I've had that experience, and I've heard scenarios where people ask for feedback, but they were not prepared for the feedback. And because some of the things they heard was a bit painful, it just came like crashing down. So how do we get people to that point where they they're able to have that honest assessment? And please, could you share the importance of this assessment where you are true to yourself? This is where I am now.
Okay. So I believe, especially in this part of the world, one of the problems that we have when it comes to accepting feedback is our conditioning. So we've been conditioned to see feedback as negative. We've been conditioned to, feel like when somebody tells us, this is what you didn't do well, the person it puts a question on our abilities. Meanwhile, we need to change that perspective. So I believe if we can change the perspective in our minds about what feedback really is, then we can start to see it more constructively. So when someone gives me a feedback as to probably my performance or something, the person is simply stating areas of improvement that I could work on. So I think when we change our language, if we can change our language, as against seeing it as something negative, we're looking at it as ways to grow, like areas that we can improve. That's simply what feedback is. So changing that perspective, if you've met people that have body odor or mouth odor, most times they don't know. Why don't they know? Because it's inside them. You're the last person that will know that your mouth is smelling, unless you're very sensitive about things like that. It's other people that will be experiencing the odor, as some of our people will say, the odor that is oozing out of your mouth and out of your body. So people are sometimes like mirrors to us. We need to be able to have that mindset and understanding. And that takes me back to the identity issue we talked about. Once you're rock solid in your identity and who you are, it doesn't shake you when feedback comes. You appreciate it as a positive um, thing that would help you to work on yourself and improve certain areas. Finally, I would say that when we have the growth mindset, we will understand that at every stage in our lives, there's room for improvement. You haven't arrived. When we stop learning, we start dying. Albert Einstein. So if you understand that and you embrace that fact, you'll be able to know that feedback is what it is. It's feedback and it's an opportunity for growth. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, fantastic. So when you're talking about that, some people have mouth odor. Some people call it mouth swagger. Where your mouth is having some dangerous swagger.
But I have a
You know?
question for you, Mr. Rutimi.
Okay, what's the question, please?
Yes, so you talked about opportunities and how opportunities have a lifespan, and someone listening to us may feel like, oh my God, I've flunked and I've missed out on several opportunities in life. What do I now do?
Okay, so there's no use crying over spilt milk. If you've lost opportunity, if you've truncated opportunity, if you've missed opportunities, or you messed up opportunities, or you did not harness opportunities, the next thing for you to understand is what really makes opportunity is preparedness, as opposed to the thing we call opportunities. We prepare for things made ready for us. Whereas those who really seize opportunities, they are the people. So your preparedness in itself is opportunity. Do you understand?
Mm,
And what normally I tell people is that all you need when you are prepared is providence. Providence is when situations arrange themselves together. So, for example, Grace is prepared to share whatever it is she knows and believes, whether it's morning, afternoon, night, midnight, early hours of the day. Now, preparedness now meets providence. So, what happens is this: providence can happen that there's a show that she needs to speak on in the shortest possible time. She's been told she's invited to that show. You don't need to fret because the show becomes an opportunity to you. Why? Because providence met preparedness. So, for example, you might meet somebody on the road, and the person is, you don't know what the person is. Now, if they told you that, guess what, Grace, that person is the special advisor to the governor of Kaduna State. You now go. That's an opportunity. Why?
mm,
Because it was told that you were told and you were notified about the person. So something was brought to you. So we look for those ready-made things, ready to wear clothes, ready to wear opportunities. But the truth of the opportunity is this: when you are so prepared that even all you met was a security officer, it was still a leverage for you. Why? Because preparedness is always a hit seeker to providence. There are many people that have met you, Grace, that did not do anything than hello, hi. Why? Because on your face, it wasn't written somebody going somewhere. There are many people that served probably the time you served for NYSC that also taught, but it never came to them that there was anything within the depth of the world of teaching. In fact, some people would have been crying and felt unfortunate that life has dealt them a hard blow. That after going to university for 4 years and experiencing some strike within, can you imagine? I was now using my own BSc to go and teach in one school like that. Someone else could say that. But you see, whether we happen to life or life happens to us, the meat of the matter is our preparedness must always meet what? Providence. And when you see preparedness look providence in the eye, you know what happens? They become a tag team. It's just like, let's do this. That's why sometimes I used to crack this joke and permit me so that nobody comes after me. But it's just a joke. This reality, they say that, I don't believe that any lady should be poor, especially Nigerian lady. All these people that look for aristo, all those things, you don't need it. And why am I saying that? Because the easiest people to climb a ladder is the people that are in demand. So yes, it can happen to men, but I'm just using it as an illustration. I normally say that, look, you can come from a poor home. As long as you're a lady, you are guaranteed least measure of success that your eyes can see and then your life can accept. Because there will be someone that will want to marry. All you just need is a guy, strolling somewhere and feeling lonely or needing someone. And you can't, that's why I find out a girl from the slums can marry a guy just because of love. And love can take love is a career.
It's
So
Rotimi,
understand
it's only in Nigerian film it used to happen, oh, that the
it happens
senator's son will fall
everywhere.
in love with the
It happens
house help. Oh.
everywhere. Listen, love itself is career. There's career part in love. If you don't dust your CV well, yeah, the one that will be on a long thing. So, but for a man, you have to do some more work. You understand? A lady just has to be a lady. And there's always just say, please nah, please excuse me, please nah. You know all those TikTok videos, excuse me. Anyway, that was a joke. So don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Okay.
So really, what we should be encouraging people, especially in a country like Nigeria, with the kind of economy that we have and the social reality that we face, we must be training ourselves. Every day is an opportunity. Life and breath is an opportunity. So we need to change that thing that something is coming to us, because then you have the scarcity mindset that it doesn't happen to many people.
Mm,
However, you can now tell yourself in itself and be a model and a message to others. So imagine now that you came out of this show and oh, fantastic. This in itself is a preparedness for you that meets providence. What it simply means is you can just tell people that you know what you've been on this show, and you know this show is in a way is like a mini launch of the Grace and Mocha brand, you know, that kind of thing. And everybody is going out there. So you just tell your village people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cousins and aunties, uncles and fathers, I am about to go on air. This is the one and only Grace Amoka, and there will never be one before you. There's never been one before you, actually. There will never be one after you. It's only
yeah.
Grace Amoka. On the Good Morning Education Show with the bell of blessing. Tell somebody. Okay, so do you have another question to ask me?
I just really, really love what you said, about operating from the abundance mindset. And I think it's something that we need to unlearn. The the illiterate of the 21st century is not the one that is unable to read and write, is the one that is not willing or able to unlearn and relearn. So we have been conditioned with the scarcity mindset, from when you're a child. You ask your father for money and he's like, does money grow on trees? You ask for it's just like Steve Harris would say, shopping on the right side of the menu. So you go into a very nice restaurant. I didn't even know I used to do it. And you're not looking for what you actually want to eat, though.
Looking
You
for
are
the
looking at
price.
the price list to now measure it up with what is inside your hand. You're like, I cannot wash plates today. So somehow we have been, laden with this scarcity mindset, and we need to unlearn that and start to think from a place of abundance, that I'm not disadvantaged. So I really love this, preparedness, always seeking for readiness. So once we're ready, it's just like that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will show. Once we're ready, then opportunities are always, 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 always available. I think that is
Perfect.
really profound.
Yeah. So thank you, Kosi Juliet, for joining. That's the bell of blessing for new timers. Josephine Inamdi, thank you for joining. All right. So now let's ask some more tough questions. I'm going to throw some stones at you. Grace, are you ready?
I think so.
Rumor has it that Grace has something in the works, and that there's something you're sneaking out carefully. Do you want to tell the world what you're planning? At least let's be the first, if possible. Let the news break on this platform.
Okay. Oh. My people, come out. You know that sticker on WhatsApp? Come out, oh, everybody come out. Announcement to be made. So, if you've been on the show, you've heard me talk a lot about, my defining moments in life, and how I got into this field of education, and how I'm so passionate to see other teachers succeed as well. So there is something powerful. See, tell your friends, your neighbors, your children, your enemies, self, your village people that something big is coming. And I believe it affects every single one of us because at some point we enter that role of being teachers. So whether you're a parent, you're teaching you're teaching your spouse, you're teaching the children that you have. If you're a religious leader, you have people that you have been put in charge of. You're a shepherd to them. So you're a teacher in that capacity as well. And then for my educators around the world, like this is really for you. So this gift to mankind, that's what I'm going to call it. This gift to mankind is helping you to understand the value, understand your sense of worth as an educator, understand the place, the part that you have to play in nation building and in building this entire continent, Africa. I talk about people like Ngozi Okonjo that simply stepped into her place of purpose and broke those glass ceilings. And by simply doing that, she's able to help other people find their own path and believe that, oh, my dreams are valid. The thing that I want to do, have is actually valid and I can do it. One of my favorite quotes in the world is the quote by Marianne Williamson that says that our deepest fears is not that we are inadequate. So your problem is not that you don't know enough or you do not have enough. Our deepest fear is actually that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, the light that is in us that frightens us. So you're there asking yourself, oh, who am I to be intelligent? Who am I to be the next CBN governor? Who am I to be the most successful person in my industry? Who am I to start that business? Who am I to ask this person for this opportunity? And the question is, who are you not to be? Because guess what? Back to the question of identity. You're a child of God and you're playing small. Does not serve the world. My coach tells me all the time, nobody needs you poor. Africa does not need you poor. Nigeria, we have too many problems for you to be hugging on poverty and sleeping with it. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so other people don't feel uncomfortable around you. You were meant to shine. I am meant to shine as little children do. And it is by shining that light that other people, you're subconsciously giving other people the permission to do the same. As you're liberated from your fears, as you're liberated from the fears of, oh, can I or can't I? Should I seize the opportunity or should I not? It's by that being liberated from that fear that you give other people permission to do the same. So I was talking to some young girls yesterday and I said, even if you're not thinking about yourself in terms of fulfilling your purpose and just stepping into the abundant life, you're doing it for other people. There are people that are looking up to you. And even though you feel like at the point you are, I'm not too awesome or I'm not too great, there's someone looking at you and is drawing inspiration from you. I talk about starving the voice of despair, that voice that tells you that you cannot. And then I give you examples of people you can relate to that have been through this path, that have been through times in their lives where they have felt like, oh, I can't do this. I also share my stories as well. My experience working with, children in the northern part of Nigeria, children that the only place where they find hope is within these classroom environments that I have been given as my stage. And the truth is, every single one of us, we have a stage. God sent you to earth and gave you a stage. Your voice is valid. Your pain is valid. Your voice needs to be heard. There's beauty in your pain. I talk about how pain is a microphone and it amplifies our sound. And the question is, what sound do you want to be amplified? Do you want it to be the sound of pain or the sound of victory, the sound of success, the sound of I can, the sound that I may have been beaten down or I may have been battered, but I'm not going to stay down. So this is a bundle of amazingness and just a gift to the world. by the master teacher herself, the Shifu teacher. So that's what I call myself. That master teacher that wants to see other people step into the fullness of all that God wants them to be, all that God wants them to do, and all that God wants them to have. So this is my gift to the world, a book, and it's going to be open for pre-orders. Oh my God. See, you need that book. See, you need to buy it for your community. We need to together join our hands together and change the narrative of education in Nigeria, especially. I'm super passionate about that.
So
So if you
tell
know
us
any
about the
teacher,
name of your book. Tell us about the name of it. You're just
so
burning on fire. That I
no,
need
no,
to
no,
make sure that there's a extinguisher in Kaduna there.
I need to prep them for this because they are not ready. Hey. So the title of the book, there's a wordplay in the book. It's teacher, as per teacher, like I am a teacher, and then teach her. Yeah, I don't get it twisted by thinking, oh, feminist people, they have come again, no, with empowering women and empowering girls and everything. No, 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 no. This book is for every single person, whether you're masculine gender like Mr. Rotimi or you're female. There is the power of a woman in changing the nation. You know that thing they used to tell us, when you empower a woman, you empower an entire village or an entire nation. So once you hear that is out for pre-order, let me just advise you, just jump on that train, because your life and destiny can never remain the same. Like, this is a gift that I've poured my life into, I've poured myself into, and I'm very sure that it's going to uh you want to be part of it. That's all I'm saying. You really want to be part of it. You want to be part of the community of people that lend a voice to this movement, because it's not just a book. It's such a movement. It's a powerful movement that is going to move from Kaduna to, someone was telling me that I need to relocate to Abuja. I said no. Kaduna, from Kaduna to the world, from Kaduna to Nigeria to Africa to the world. We're putting Kaduna on the map, Gongo. You will not be hearing about Lagos again, no, because we're shaking things up. Thank you so much, Mr. Rotimi, for this opportunity that met with my little preparedness. So thank you so much, and just be on the lookout. It's going to be all over your towns, cities, and villages. So yes, teach hard. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. That's so powerful. That's so, 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 so powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. I'm just going to say this, right? Just while you're talking about pouring your Josephine saying that's super awesome, great, Grace, fantastic. In one sentence, that's super awesome. And then you have fantastic again. Oh my goodness, that's powerful. Well, so there you have it, those who are listening. And KK actually joined us in the show, but I think the network wasn't that friendly. Yeah, I wanted to introduce you to KK. KK is another fantastic individual. And I'm sure KK is going to get some books from you, copies of your books, and she'll support you. Yeah. So yeah. So KK is a master dancer. You're the master. So maybe what we'll do is we'll bring you, and then it'll be the battle. We'll see who dances best. But all from on behalf of everyone on the Good Mother Education Show, we're sending our love and support. We're going to support you all the way on pre-order. Experiencing that also as well. And of course, today
Oh.
Eben's birthday is today. Ebenezer Odetola, if you're there, um, Grace.
I'm so sorry. My network Oh, had a little glitch. I want you to say, are we not going to sing for Mr. Eben?
Yes, I said, Grace, could you sing for Eben, please?
Oh, yay! Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Eben, with so much love from all of us, all the educators in the whole of Nigeria. We love you so much and we appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that powerful short one track album on Eben's birthday. So before we end the show, I'd like to ask the question. So, Grace, where are you now? Tell us, where are you now?
Hmm. I am so like Mr. Rotimi said, where are you does not necessarily talk about geographical location. It talks about the era and it now points you to the opportunities that exist in this era. So for me, at the space where I have embraced my giftings, my calling, and my ability to change the world. And I'm taking that courage. And if you don't have the courage, you can borrow courage. That's the good thing about it. Mr. Rotimi knows, like, I have borrowed his courage plenty within the last 1 week plus or small. It feels like I've just been such a firecracker kind of person. But it's important. That's why I talked about, finding people, coaches and mentors, people that can hold your hand and remind you of who you are, remind you of the gift that is inside of you, remind you of the seed that God has deposited in you. Because guess what? That seed can be there for years and you will bury it. Like the man that had 1 talent and decided to hide it under the ground. And then when they asked him for it, he went to bring it out. So where I am is at the place of letting that seed sprout. The seed has been gaining roots so for a very long time, but now we're letting it show. We're shining our lights because the world is too dark. The world is too dark to have you silent. The world is too dark to have you quiet. So be prepared and let your preparedness meet with opportunities, or let it meet with the providence that is always out there for you. So thank you so much for having me on this show. I've had so much fun. If you can tell, like, I've just been very excited about everything, and it just feels like home for me. You're doing a fantastic job, Mr. Rotimi, and I really pray that God continues to bless you and continues to just place you before kings and makes you amplifies your voice, because the world, like literally the world, needs to hear you. Nigeria has heard you enough. Africa has heard you enough. The world needs to hear you because you have so much to offer the world, and I know that we're going to change the world together. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much as well for joining the show as short as possible time. We want to appreciate you and we wish you all the best in your book, and not just your book, because your book has now become a movement. So we're looking forward to join the mission, teach her so that we can reach her. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. This is Grace Amoka, all the way from Kaduna, joining us, talking about where she is now. I want you to ensure that you that, just take that point and make sure that there is a defining moment for you, where you are able to look at your path, you look at your pursuit, and you look at your performance, and you are honest with yourself so that you know the kind of things that you need to do. As we end the show today, there are 3 things for everyone per development stage, or discovery stage, or deployment stage, as Grace shared with us. Is that whenever you look at where you are now, 3 things must happen. You must identify the things that need to stop, identify the core things that needs to stop. Whenever you look at where you are and you're looking at it from a reflective point of assessment, some things need to stop. Sometimes you need to stop you, because you've been standing in the way long enough. Sometimes you need to stop the whispers, the wrong whispers that you hear. Sometimes you need to stop the doubt. Sometimes you need to stop procrastinating. Sometimes you need to stop so many things, right? You need to know where to stop. Then, of course, for every stop, there's going to be a start. So you need to identify the things that need to start, the things you need to start doing. So someone like Grace, she's spoken about a book, but you know what she's starting now? She's starting a movement. So she can't keep quiet. She's going everywhere and ensuring that preparedness means providence. So she's going to be sharing for anyone who cares to listen in a contagious way, in an exciting way, and she could add in some dance steps into it as well. So everyone must understand there's something to stop, there's something to start, and whatever it is that you're doing so well, and anything that you know that is giving you results based on your assessment of where you are now, then you need to continue on those things. So start, stop, continue is the thing that you need to put into. Make sure you're sincere with yourself. Sit down somewhere, listen to this session over again, share it with other people, screen grab, screenshot, share it on Instagram, on Facebook, tell people, subscribe to that channel. There's a lot of wealth of resource. However, write it down. Stop this, stop this, stop this, start this, start this, start this, continue this, continue this, continue this. Whatever the answer might be, make sure it's specific. Don't say, I will stop being bad. That is not, that's relative. Don't say, I'll start being better. Better how? Better in what way? Do you understand? And as you do this, you end up having a reality that is something worth desiring. And of course, at the end of the day, your performance and result will show for it. This is all we can take for today. And this is all we can take for the week. We're coming back next week. And guess what? Grace, guess what?
What? Oh,
Are you sure? Guess what now?
ha! I don't know how. What can I guess like this?
Next
You're
week,
full of surprises now, so I
next
cannot know
week,
what you have cooking.
Grace is coming back next week.
Woo!
And so we are gonna have a week full of grace, a week filled with grace, and in a
Oh,
week full of grace, right? So we're gonna be having Grace on the show next week, every day, Monday to Friday, as much as she's available and as much as we can take. And of course, remember there's a way we sign off our show. Every time a first timer comes, we give the first timer that privilege. There's a way we sign off our show. We say it's always a great morning on the Good Morning Education Show. So, Grace, over to you. Tell us.
it's always a good morning on the Good Morning Education Show.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.